So good morning, students. I hope you are able to see my screen and you are able to listen to me. So let us start with the discussion that we left yesterday. So in the previous class, we are talking about the structure of the IP header. So we say that in the IP protocol, the data received from the higher layer is converted into an IP packet. And how do we convert this data into an IP packet? So we convert data into an IP packet by appending an IP header, right? So IP header actually contains all the information which is necessary for the receiving IP layer to process the data, okay? Or it is necessary for the intermediate device to actually go and forward this particular packet to the next layer, okay? So we discussed in the previous class that the IP header is consist of minimum 20 bytes to maximum 60 bytes, and the overall length of the IP packet, including the header as well as data, can be anywhere between the 20 bytes to 65,535. That is 2 raised to 16 bytes, right? And we also discussed the various options which are available, various fields that are available in the IP header. So fields actually consist of the first 4 bit is consist of the version control, the version number. The next 4 bits are the header length. Mind well, the header length is 4 bits, so we can only have the value from 0 to 15. So in order to get represent the value of the header length, we need to multiply this with 4, right? So we have 0 into 4 and then 15 into 4, that is equal to 60. So 60 byte of the maximum header length can be represented by multiplying this h length field with 4. Then we have the next 8 bit, which are actually the quality of service bits, which actually indicates that what is the desired amount of quality that is required by the protocol. So we discussed that there are various aspects of quality. Some services and protocols are more, considering the reliability requirement as more important as compared to the throughput, and some services are more, inclined towards reducing the delay, right, as compared to the reliability. So basically, there are 3 points: reliability, delay, and throughput. And which of these parameters are more important to us? Depending on that, we can actually set up the quality of service parameters and quality of service bits, right? The next 4 byte, that is 16 bit, is going to represent the total length, right? So total length of the packet starting from the first bit to the last bit. So the total length actually is 2 raised to 16 bits. So therefore, the maximum length can be 2 raised to 16, that is 65536. But remember that this is not actually the length of each and every IP packet, and the length of the IP packet is variable, right? You can have the IP packet of different length. We'll try to see that shortly. But this is the maximum length that you can have, right? So therefore, 2 raised to 16 is the maximum length that you can have for your IP packet, right? But in practice, the IP packet can have any length, any variable amount of length, starting from 20 byte, that is the minimum length, to maximum of 65536. That is the maximum length that you can have, right? So it could vary actually between these two extremes, right? It is not necessary that always it has to be of this much length, okay? The next field is an identification field. We said that this particular field will be used in the fragmentation. Again, the fragmentation offset and fragmentation flag fields are also used in the fragmentation. We'll try to talk about fragmentation today. The next field is a time to live field, which is an actually 8-bit field. So time to live field actually indicates that for what period of time or the number of hops for which the packet will remain alive on the network, right? So every time a packet is forwarded from one hop to the another hop, then this time to live field is decremented by 1, right? And the packet will be removed from the network, or the packet will be discarded by the device when the time to live field actually reaches to 0, okay? So time to live field actually allows us to make sure that the packet is not roaming into the network for an infinite period of time, right? So this is basically the maximum number of hops that the packet can travel. Usually the value of time to live field is equal to 50, but again, depending on the protocol and depending on the network architecture, this field could actually vary, right? But usually the value of the maximum number of hops that the packet can travel is equal to 50. The next 8-bit is a protocol field. So protocol field basically identifies that which is the higher level protocol which actually you are carrying the data for, right? So the higher level protocol that can send data can be a transport layer protocol like UDP and TCP, or even it can be upper IP layer protocol. So these are the upper IP layer protocol we have, that is IGMP and ICMP, right? So the data carried by the IP version 4 packet can be the data coming from STP protocol, TCP protocol, UDP protocol, or it may be a data which is coming from either IGMP protocol or it may be coming from ICMP protocol. So data carried by the IP version 4 protocol belongs to which of the higher layer protocol? This is basically identified by the protocol field. Then you have the header checksum of 16-bit, which is used to indicate that whether the information presented in the header is accurate and it is correct, right? It does not contain any bit error, right? And then we have 32-bit source IP address, and then we have 32-bit destination IP address. So this actually formulates the required part of the IP header, that is the 20-byte required part of the IP header, and then we have 40-byte optional part of the IP header. So this 40-byte can be optional, it may be there, may not be there. Okay, so that is how the IP header, IP version 4 header is formulated. So we already discussed about it, the reliability parameter, right? Minimum delay, maximum reliability, maximum throughput, and minimum cost. We also talk about the protocol field here, right? So these are the certain examples of which service is actually required, what kind of reliability, right? So depending on the TOS bit value, if it is all 0, then this is a normal or a default mechanism, right? Or a default a QoS parameter, right? But instead of having a default or a normal type of service, you can actually request for a specific type of service like having minimum cost or maximum reliability and so on. Okay, so these are some of the examples that what kind of service is actually required, what kind of special treatment. And if your service do not require any special treatment, then you can probably make it equal to normal. That is indicated by making all the TOS bit equal to 0. So then we also have a total length field. We already discussed that. A protocol field indicates that whether the data consists of is belong to which higher layer protocol, right? It can be an upper network layer protocol or it can be a transport layer protocol. So we already discussed that this value 1 indicates ICMP, 2 indicates IGMP, 6 indicates TCP, 17 indicates UDP, and up to etc. so on. Okay. So now let us try to look at some of the examples related to the header, right? So this kind of example could also come in the in your exam as well. So I hope that you try to understand and see what is happening here. So let us say that we have an IP version 4 packet has just arrived on the machine, and these are the first 8 bits of the packet that has been arrived, right? So the first 8 bits are 0100 and 0110, right? So these are the first 8 bit that is being arrived. The receiver discards this particular packet, right? Can you find out the reason why the receiver is discarding this particular packet, right? So these are the first 8 bit of the received packet. However, the received packet is discarded by the receiver. I would like to know the reason why the received packet was discarded by the receiver, right? So let us try to find out. The first 4 bit of the IT packet is actually indicating the version control or the version number, right? So it is 0100. So 0100 means it is 4. So therefore, this 4 bit actually indicates that this particular packet is actually IP version 4 packet, right? So there is nothing wrong with it. It's perfectly a valid value. The next 4 bit is actually the header length, right? So what is the value of the next 4 bits? So next 4 bit value is going to be equal to 0010. 0010 means the H length value is equal to 2. So if the H length field is equal to 2, what is the length of the header? So length of the header can be obtained by multiplying the H length value with 4. So H length value, decimal value of the H length is 2. 2 is multiplied by 4. So therefore, the size of the header or the number of bytes in the header is going to be equal to 8. So since the header says that the size of the header in this particular packet is going to be 8, which is not a valid value. Why it is not a valid value? Because we already know that the minimum number of bytes that a header can have is 20, right? So therefore, there is something wrong with this particular packet. The value mentioned here are not correct. So maybe they are corrupted. So therefore, this particular packet is not a valid packet because it does not indicate a valid value of the H length field. And therefore, the receiver is basically discarding this particular packet, right? You hope you are able to understand what is happening here, right? Let us try to understand a second example, that an IP version 4 packet has an H length value of 1000 in binary. How many bytes of the optional field are being used, right? So when the H length is having the binary value 1000, so the decimal equivalent of 1000 is 8. So the value of the H length field is 8. So if the value of the H length field is 8, what is the length of the header? The length of the header is going to be equal to H length multiplied by 4. So H length multiplied by 4, that is equal to 32 bytes. So 32 byte is going to be the number of bytes in the header, or this is going to be the length of the header. So when you have 32 byte header, we already know that out of these 32 bytes, 20 bytes are going to be the compulsory part of the header, and all remaining bytes are going to be the optional part of the header. So what we are asked here is, we are asked to find out how many bytes are of the optional field, or how many bytes are used for the option field. So we have 32 total bytes out minus 20, that is the compulsory bytes that we have, right? Required bytes that we have in the header, and the remaining number of bytes. What are the remaining number of bytes? 12 bytes which are remaining. These are the bytes which are actually used for the option fields, right? So in this particular header, in this particular IP version 4 packet, 20 bytes are used for the required field and 12 bytes are used for the option field, right? So that is what the answer to this particular question is. Okay. Let us try to see one more, that if an IP header packet 4 has a value of H length is equal to 5, and the value of the total length is going to be equal to 0x0028. See, just try to understand what is given to you, whether it is given in terms of decimal, whether it is given in terms of binary, or whether it is given in terms of hex. Okay. So here you can see that the H length was mentioned in terms of binary. Here you can see that the H length value is directly mentioned in terms of decimal, that is 5. Okay. Whereas the total length field is actually mentioned in terms of hex number. Okay. So you have to understand this, that whether the number given to you is in a hex format, or it is in a binary format, or it is in a decimal format. And then when you are computing it, you have to convert all format to decimal format first, and then you compute the value of H length and header and total length and so on. And then probably you can find out the answer to the question, because we are asking you how many bytes, right? So we are asking in terms of decimal number, how many bytes actually are being carried by this particular packet. So we would basically like to know the number of data bytes which are carried away by this particular packet. So we have the total length, we have the header length. So what we need to do is, we need to subtract the total length, the header length from the total length. So when we subtract the header length from the total length, what you get is the length of the data, right? So that is what exactly we are expected here as an answer, that how many data bytes are being carried away by this particular packet. So basically I would like to know what is the amount of data bytes which are there in this particular packet. And in order to find that, I have to subtract the header length from the total length, right? But the header length and total length are not mentioned in a decimal form. Header length is mentioned in a decimal form, but total length is not mentioned in a decimal form. So first I need to convert that into the decimal form. So from the hex number, if I convert this particular hex number into a binary number, then what do I get here? So 8 is represented by 100, so that is 8, and 2 would be represented by 0010, that is 2, right? So this is, and all other bits are 0, right? You have 0000 here and 0000 here, right? So this hex number basically has the total bit has 16 bits. So this is a 16 bit. The first 4 bits are 0, and then the next 4 bits are also 0. Then the next 4 bits are 0010, right? So this is 0010, that is the next 4 bits, and the last 4 bits are going to be equal to 100. So that is how we formulate a 16-bit total length field. So this is the binary representation, right? So now what I need to do is, I have to convert this into a decimal equivalent, right? So what is the decimal equivalent here? So you can just make it out. It is 1, 2, 4, 8, right? And then we have 16, and then we have 32. So it is 32 plus 8, that is going to be equal to 40. So the binary equivalent of the total length field is going to be equal to 40. So 40 is going to be your total length of the packet, right? And out of that, what is the length of the header? The length of the header can be given by 5 multiplied by 4. So 5 is the value of H length field, and H length field multiplied by 4 gives you the total number of bytes that you have in the header. So 5 multiplied by 4, that is equal to 20 bytes you have in the header. 40 bytes are the total length, right? So what is going to be the length of data? So length of data is going to be equal to total length minus the header length, that is 40 minus 20, that is going to be equal to 20. So in this particular packet, you have 20 bytes of header and then you have 20 bytes of data being carried by this particular packet, right? So hope that makes sense, right? So let us try to understand the next field here, that in IP version 4 packet has arrived. These are the first few hexadecimal digits. So here the number is mentioned in terms of hexadecimal digit. So every hexadecimal digit is made of 4 bits. So when I say hexadecimal, I would like to, we just have to make sure that every hexadecimal number in turn is represented by 4 bits, right? So this is the value of the packet, received packet, which is mentioned in terms of hexadecimal. Now we would like to know that how many hops can this packet travel before being dropped, right? Or before being discarded by the intermediate devices, right? And I would also like to know that the data belonging to this packet, the data contained in this packet belongs to which upper layer protocol. So basically what I want to find out the value of the time to leave field, and I would like to find out the value of the protocol field, right? So how do I do that? Okay. So let us try to understand, or try to extract the data one by one. So first 4 bit is an header length. So header length, first 4 bit is a version number. So version number here is 4. Then the next 4 bit is actually the header length. So header length is equal to 5. So 5 multiplied by 4, that is equal to 20. So this particular packet does not contain any optional field. It only contains 20 byte required field in the IP header. Okay. After that, what we have is we have the so after this the h length and the h length field and the version field, then we have the next 8 bit, right, which are actually representing the type of service, right? So type of service which is desired here is 00, and we already know 00 indicates a normal service, right? So we are not having any specialized requirement. So we are going with a normal service. So therefore, the type of service field is going to be equal to 00. That is the next 8 bit. Now the next 16 bits, what are the 16 bits? 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4. These are the next 16 bits. These are going to represent the total length. Okay. So what is the total length of this particular header? So total length is 0028. So this is a hex number 0028. And in our previous example, we already simplified that 0028 is going to be equal to decimal number 40. So this 0028, this is going to be equal to the total length, and the total length indicates that this packet actually contains 40 bytes. Out of that, 20 bytes are used for header, right? So therefore the length of the data in this particular packet are going to be equal to 20 byte. So far what we know, that the packet is IP version 4, that the length of the header is 20 byte, that the type of service is normal, that the length of the total packet is 40 byte. It means the length of the data inside the packet is going to be equal to 20 bytes. That is the information we know so far. Now the next is the next 16 bit is the identification field. So 0, 0, 0 and 1. This is going to be the identification field. So identification field indicates that this is packet number 1, right? And then the next bits are actually fragment and offset, right? So fragment offset is 0, 0. So this is the first packet itself, right? So this indicates that this is going to be the first packet of the current first fragment of the current packet. So it may also be the case that the packet is not fragmented at all, right? So therefore it is considered as the first fragment itself, right? And then after this, the next field is a time to, next 8 bit is going to be the time to leave field. So this 8 bit value is 0, 1. So 0, 1 is going to be the value of your TTL field. That is the 8 bit value for the TTL field. So 0, 1 indicates that this particular packet can only travel up to 1 hop, right? So time to leave field is the 9th byte, this one 0, 1, and this means that the packet can travel only up to 1 hop. This particular packet can only travel up to 1 hop. After 1 hop, the packet would be discarded, right? It cannot go to the next hop, right? So this packet would be discarded only after the first hop itself. So this packet can only be used for direct delivery. Direct delivery means the source and destination. It cannot go through any other intermediate device, because it goes through intermediate device, then the number of hop will increase. which is not allowed in this packet, right? So we say that the packet can only travel up to 1 hop. So the packet can only be used for direct delivery from source to destination and cannot be forwarded to any intermediate devices. So that is what it is. The number of hops are 1. The next thing that we need to know is that what is the upper layer protocol? So the next 8 byte is going to tell us about what is going to be the value of upper layer protocol. So 02 is going to be the value of the upper layer protocol. And as we already know that 02, that is 2 means it is an IGMP packet. Okay. So from this, this is the kind of information we came to know, that the packet can travel only up to 1 hop. The packet actually contains an IGMP data. It is IP version 4 packet. The header length is 20 byte. The total length is 40 byte. Data length is 20 byte. And this is the first packet and the first fragment, right? That is, it may not be fragmented. It's a single packet. So therefore, it is the first fragment with 0 offset, right? So that is what is the information that we can extract from the IP version 4 packet. Okay. So just to be ready with this kind of sum. So I hope you understand and you realize the value of each and every field and how to interpret each and every field, right? Because this kind of examples you can also see probably in your exam as well, right? So be ready for it. Okay. So now let us try to consider what is going to be the size of the IP datagram packet. So we already said that the maximum size of the IP datagram packet is going to be equal to 2 raised to 16. Okay. But however, this is not always the case. Why? Because you can have a variable size packet. So it is not always the case that you have this 2 raised to 16 field, right? You can have any value starting from 20. So the minimum value of the packet, the minimum size of the packet can be equal to 20 bytes, right? Where we are assuming that there is only header, there is no data associated with the packet. So that is going to be equal to a minimum packet of 20 bytes. And then the maximum packet that we can have is 65536 or something, right? So this is the minimum to maximum, but the actual IP packet can be anything in between this. It can be any value starting from 20 to this particular value. Now, how do we determine that what is going to be the size of IP packet? Should I keep it 20 byte or 100 byte or 200 byte or let's say 3000 byte or 5000 byte? How do I determine it? So the size of the IP datagram is actually determined by the size of the frame which are formulated at the data link layer. So we already know that the data link layer will be bundling data in terms of a frame. We already know that the frame can have some maximum size, right? You cannot have a frame size going beyond it, right? So every technology, whether you are using Ethernet or you are using fiber optic or you are using something else, right? So you are using token ring, token bus, FDDI, fiber optic, Ethernet, or you are using a telephone line to connect using PPP or X25. So all these different data link layer protocols, depending on the hardware, limits the maximum number of bytes that can be transmitted inside a frame. For example, hyperchannel can have the frame size equal to 535, that is 16 bit, right? Token ring can have 17,009 something. Token ring with 4 Mbps of speed can have the size of the frame equal to 4,000. FDDI can have 4,000. Ethernet, we already know, can have 1500 bytes, right? As a size of the frame, the maximum size of the frame. So this maximum size of the frame which is supported at the data link layer is called MTU, that is called maximum transferable unit, right? So maximum transferable unit is the maximum length of the data that can be encapsulated inside the frame. ये किसके ऊपर डिपेंड करता है? Again I am repeating, this depends on the physical layer hardware and the data link layer protocol used. Okay, तो आपका physical layer पे hardware क्या है? अगर Ethernet है तो hardware होगा twisted pair, right? तो इसके ऊपर डिपेंड करता है कि आप कितने बाइट जो है वो फ्रेम के अंदर इनकैप्सुलेट कर सकते हैं, राइट? So we have this MTU defined for each and every data link layer protocol, and for each and every hardware we have a well-defined value of MTU, that is maximum length of data that can be encapsulated in the frame, right? So remember, the frame is not only data, but you also need to put up some header and you also need to put up some tailor. In the header part, you will be having MAC address, source MAC address, destination MAC address. In the tailor part, you will be having error correction code, error checking code rather. Okay. So MTU means the maximum length of the data that can be encapsulated inside the frame. So obviously, if you want to encapsulate the IP packet inside the frame, then the size of the packet cannot be more than the size of MTU, right? If suppose you say that, okay, the frame can have only 500 bytes, your packet cannot be more than 500 bytes. Otherwise, this packet cannot be encapsulated inside this frame, right? Okay, na? I hope you understand that. This is a container. MTU is a container. And this is the object. The size of the object cannot be more than the container. Otherwise, this object will not fit into the container, right? So size of the IP datagram has to be exactly matched with the size of the MTU, and that is in turn determined by the kind of protocol we use at the data link layer and kind of hardware that is available. So for hyperchannel, the MTU is 6536353. So you can have packet size also equal to the same. At token ring, you can have packet size equal to 70,000. At token ring 4 Mbps, you can have packet size equal to 4,000. And then you can, for Ethernet, you can have 1500. Sorry. For X25, X25 is basically used for the telephone lines, right? It is used with T1 carrier system, right? Both PPP and X25 protocols are basically used along with the telephone line T1 carrier system. So therefore, the amount of data which is carried away by this technology is very less, right? So what I'm trying to say is that the size of the IP packet can vary anything from say a few hundred to few thousand, right? The size of the packet, IP packet, could vary anything from few hundred to few thousand, right? So that is how we decide the size of the IP datagram. Okay. So, but what is the issue? The issue comes in where actually we have already determined the size of the packet. So normally we determine the size of the packet when the packet is generated by the device, right? So let us consider this scenario here, that at this particular place we have a device A which is trying to send data to this particular device B, right? So this is my source device A, and then I have a destination device B here, right, which is sending data to this particular destination device B. So in order to do this communication, I am going through two intermediate devices. So the first intermediate device which I'm going to use here is R1, and then the next intermediate device I'm going to use here is R2. Okay. So for R2, right, so the connection between the device A and R1 is Ethernet. Connection between device R1 and R2 is a telephone line which is using a PPP protocol, and the connection between the router R2 and the destination device B is again Ethernet. Okay, so it is like that. We are connecting to our perimeter router using Ethernet, but then the perimeter router is in turn connected with an ISP router, an internet service provider. So this is actually a wide area network link, right? So this is the router of your organization. This is the router of the service provider or some remote network. So since you are having a remote network, you need to have a wide area network connectivity. So wide area network connectivity can be obtained through modem or through telephone lines. So let's say we are preferring a telephone line here. So therefore we are using a T1 carrier telephone line, and using a PPP protocol, we are trying to send data between these two routers. This is not exactly how it is done in practice, but for the sake of understanding, let us assume that we have this PPP, right? Normally the link between two routers, the wide area network link, is normally fiber optic, right? Majority of the time when we try to connect our device with the remote device on a wide area network link, that connection mostly is a fiber optic connection, right? But let us keep the things apart right now, and let us assume that it is a PPP link. So now what is happening is, when A is generating a IP packet, A will check what is the underlying hardware. So underlying hardware is twisted pair cable, underlying protocol is Ethernet, and therefore A will generate an IP packet where the size of IP packet is going to be equal to 1500, right? So size of the IP packet in this case is going to be equal to 1500. Why it is 1500? Because the size of the MTU for Ethernet is going to be equal to 1500. The size of the Ethernet is going to be equal to 1500. So therefore, you have generated a packet, and size of that particular packet is going to be equal to 1500. So when this particular packet arrives on R1, R1 check that, okay, this packet is for the destination B. Therefore, R1 decides to forward this packet to R2, right? Because R1 is not the destination. So R1 has to check where to forward this packet, right? So R1 knows that, okay, B is connected via R2. So therefore, R1 will decide to forward this packet to R2. And then R2 will in turn hand over this packet to B. But when R1 is trying to forward this packet to R2, there is a problem. What is the problem? PPP can only support a maximum size of 269 or 296. So here the maximum size of IP packet can be only 296. But the actual packet which is received by R1 is of 1500 bytes. But in the R1 to R2 link, since it is a PPP link, it can only send 296 bytes at a time. So what do we do now, right? So one option is that R1 will actually inform A that I cannot carry this packet, I cannot deliver this packet because it is having a larger size. So you kindly reformulate a packet and send it in a smaller size. That is option number one. Option number two is that R1 will decide to divide this packet into sub-packets. So what does R1 will do? R1 will divide this 1500 packet into smaller segments, right? Say for example, 8 segments, each of size say around 200 bytes. So that is approximately 1600 bytes, right? So that is how R1 can divide the original packet into smaller fragments and then send it to R2. And then R2 will in turn send this particular data to B. Remember, R1 has a right to fragment the packet, but no one on the device has a right to do the reassembly. The reassembly of packet can only happen on the actual destination. Intermediate device can only have a right to fragment the packet, but intermediate device cannot do reassembly of those fragments. The reassembly of fragment can only happen on the destination device. So reassembly कौन करेगा? R2 नहीं करेगा. Even though the network here is Ethernet, even though it is possible to combine packet and send, but then R2 will not do it, right? R2 will hand over the packet as it is to B, and then it is a job of the destination to reassemble this packet and to formulate the 1500 size original packet again, right? So this process of dividing the original packet into fragments is what is referred as fragmentation, right? So हम लोग क्या करेंगे actually? As we already discussed that we have this packet of say 4000 size, so 0 to 4000, that is the size of the original packet. Now, since my network cannot have data more than say 1400 bytes actually, then I have to divide this particular 4000 packet, and the 4000 packet is divided into 3 fragments. The first fragment consists of 0 to 1400. The second segment consists of 1400 to 2800 and so on, right? So that is how I have to divide this packet into 3 sub packets, right? This process of dividing the packet into smaller fragments is called the fragmentation. In order to do this fragmentation, we will be using certain fields here, and the most important part is the fragmentation flag. So you remember that in your IP header, we discussed that there is a 3-bit flag, right? This is a 3-bit flag. So in this 3-bit flag, the first bit is not used. We are only using 2 out of these 3 bits, and these 2 bits are represented like this. So this first bit is not used, second bit is a D bit, and the third bit is an M bit. So D bit basically indicates that it is a do not fragment bit, and M bit actually indicates that it is a more fragment bit. What do you mean by D bit? When D bit is equal to 0, right, it is possible to divide this packet into fragments. But if D bit is equal to 1, that is do not fragment bit is equal to 1, then the sender is warning the intermediate device that it is not possible to fragment this packet. So for example, if R1 receives a packet with D bit set to 1, what will happen? If R1 receives a packet of size 1500 with the D bit set to 1, what will happen? In this particular case, R1 will not be able to fragment this packet because it is not possible to fragment the packet, because the sender is saying that it is not possible to fragment by making D bit equal to 1. So when D bit is equal to 1, R1 cannot fragment. At the same time, R1 cannot transmit. So what does we do? R1 will generate an error message, and that error message is in turn forwarded back to the A. तो ये error message कैसे send करेंगे? the error message is generated and sent using ICMP protocol. We'll talk about ICMP protocol later on. But R1 will generate an ICMP protocol, ICMP packet, and that ICMP packet basically contains an error saying that it is not possible to transmit packet of this size. Kindly reduce the size of your packet so that it can be transmitted further on the network. That is number one. If your D bit is equal to 0, D bit is equal to 0 means we are allowing the intermediate device to fragment the packet if required. D bit is equal to 0 means we are allowing the intermediate devices to fragment the packet if required. Right? So in this particular case now, R1 will go for the fragmentation of this packet and divide packet into 8 different packets, each of certain size. Right? Okay, so that is what you mean by do not fragment bit. The second bit is a more fragment bits. So more fragment bit, if more fragment equal to 1, it indicates there are more fragment exists. So this is not the last fragment. There are more fragments to come in. And if this particular bit is equal to 0, then it indicates that this is the last fragment in the sequence. Right? So when you divide packet into sub packets, right? So there are 8 sub packets. So there is a sequence like first sub fragment, second fragment, third fragment, fourth fragment, and likewise the 8th fragment. So 8th fragment is basically the last fragment. You do not have any other fragment beyond 8. So when you are saying m bit equal to 0, you are saying that this particular fragment is the last fragment of the packet. You do not have any further fragments to come in. If this particular bit is equal to 1, then you are saying that yes, this particular bit is equal to 1 means that there are more fragments to come in. This is an intermediate packet, maybe the first one, maybe the intermediate one, but certainly it is not the last one. So let us try to understand. A packet arrived with an m bit is value equal to 0. Is this the first fragment, the last fragment, or the middle fragment? Do we know the packet was fragmented or not? So m is equal to 0 means what? When m bit is equal to 0, this definitely means that there are no more fragments, and no more fragment means that this definitely tells us that this particular fragment is a last fragment. Okay, so this particular part is true. This is a last segment. Okay, since it is a last fragment, we do not have any middle fragment. So this is not a middle fragment, right? This is a last fragment. And to answer the question that whether the original packet was fragmented or not, it is not possible to tell us, because if the original packet is not fragmented, then the original packet itself can be considered as a last fragment. Right? Original packet को आपने fragment ही नहीं किया है, so that original packet itself is a last fragment. That is the first fragment, and that is also the last fragment. The original packet itself is the first fragment, and that itself is the last fragment, because you have not fragmented the packet at all. And there is no way for us to tell just by looking at the m bit. It is not possible for us to tell whether it was the first fragment, whether it was the original packet, or it was the part of the fragments, right? It is not possible to tell us. M equal to 0 only means that this is the last fragment. There are no more fragments expected now. Okay, and we also came to know that, okay, this is not going to be a middle one, because if it is a middle one, then your m bit is going to be equal to 1, right? So m0 means that it is not a middle fragment. It is obviously the last fragment, but it is not possible to tell us whether it is a first fragment. It may be. If the original packet is not divided, then the last fragment is also the first fragment. They are all same. You have only one fragment, that is the original packet itself. So whether it is a first fragment, we don't know. Whether the original packet was fragmented, again, we don't know. By looking at an m bit, it is not possible for us to tell this. Let us try to take the second one. A packet has arrived with m bit equal to 1. Is this the first fragment, the last fragment, the middle fragment? Do we know the packet was fragmented? Okay. M bit is equal to 1. So definitely this is not a last fragment. It is a middle fragment.
or it may be the first fragment. We don't know yet, because the first fragment also the m bit is going to be 1 because there are more fragments to come in. For middle fragments also m bit is going to be equal to 1. So we know for sure that this packet is not the last fragment, but we are not sure whether this packet is the middle fragment or it is the first fragment, because in both the cases the value of m is going to be equal to 1. But what we know for sure, that whether the packet was fragmented, yes, definitely the packet was fragmented. That is why we have this m bit equal to 1, because there are more fragments. So we know for sure that the last fragment, it is not a last fragment. We know for sure that the original packet was fragmented. But what we cannot tell, right, is whether this is going to be the first fragment or it is going to be the middle fragment. It is not possible for us to tell this. Okay. So similarly, if a packet arrived with m bit equal to 1 and the fragment offset value is 0, is this the first fragment, a last fragment, or a middle fragment? So m bit is equal to 1, that we know for sure that this is not a last fragment. It is either first fragment or it's a middle fragment. But see, the value of offset is 0. Means if it is a middle fragment, then the offset cannot be 0, right? The value of offset is 0 only for the first fragment, right? So since the value of offset is 0 and m bit is equal to 1, we can tell that this is definitely going to be the first fragment. Okay, this is definitely not a last fragment, and it is also not a middle fragment. So it is not a middle fragment, it is not a last fragment, it is going to be the first fragment. So that is how we can tell us by looking at the offset value and the m bit value. But if you have only m bit information, then from the m bit information itself, it is not possible to tell whether this is going to be the first fragment or it is going to be the last fragment. Hope that makes sense. So likewise, we have some more examples here. Okay, a packet has arrived where the offset value is equal to 100. What is the number of first byte? See, again, the offset value is only a 13-bit value, right? Because 3 bit out of 16, 3 bits are used for flag. So the remaining bits are only 13 bits. So in order to cop up the loss of bits, how the offset values are computed? The offset values are computed by multiplying the offset value with 8, just like your h length field. H length में हम लोग क्या करते थे? We have only 4 bits. 4-bit information used to represent 60, 0 to 60. So how do we do that? We do that by multiplying the 4-bit value with 4, right? So we have maximum 0 multiplied by 4, that is 0. Maximum 15 multiplied by 4, that is 60. So that is how we have this range 0 to 60. Range is created, or that range is represented by using only 4-bit number. Similarly, here also, we'll be multiplying the offset value with 8 in order to get the actual number of bytes which are, or the starting number of the byte which are present, right? So the value of the offset is 100, then the first byte, the number of the first byte is going to be equal to 100 multiplied by 8. So this is 100 actually, this is not binary 100, this is a decimal 100, okay? So maybe in the exam we'll clearly specify this, that okay, whether it is a binary number or it's a decimal number or it's a hex number. But in this case, they have not mentioned it, but this is 100. That is not a binary 100, it is the decimal number 100. So if your offset value is equal to 100, then the value of the first byte, the number of the first byte is going to be equal to 100 multiplied by 8. That is going to be equal to 800. So 800 is going to be the number of the first byte, right? So this is obviously a middle packet. It is not the first fragment. Why it is not the first fragment? Because the value of the offset is not equal to 0. So if it is a first fragment, then the value of the first byte is going to be equal to 000. But since the value of the first byte number is not 0, we can say that this is a middle fragment, right? Which is evident from the offset value. The offset value is not 0 here. Offset value is 100. So the last example, that a packet has arrived with an offset value of 100 with the h length value of 5 and the value of the total length field is also 100. What are the number of first byte and last byte? Okay. How do we get the first byte? The first byte is obtained by multiplying the value. So all the values are in decimal here. So first byte is obtained by multiplying the offset value with 8. So that is 800. Now I would like to know what is the last byte. I know the number of the first byte. I would like to know the number of the last byte. So last byte can only be known if I know what is the length of data. Right? What is the length of data carried away by this packet or the segment? So in this case, the length of data can be obtained by h length, which is subtracted from the total length. So total length of the packet is 100 byte. H length is going to be equal to 5 multiplied by 4, that is 20 byte. So the length of data is 100 minus 20, that is equal to 80 bytes. So 80 byte is the length of data that is there inside this packet. So obviously the number of first byte is 800. Then what is going to be the number of last byte? So the number of last byte is going to be equal to 800 plus 80. So we are starting from 0. So therefore the last number is going to be equal to 879 because we are including this 0. We are counting this 0 here. So the last byte is going to be equal to 879. So value of the first byte is going to be equal to 800 and value of the last byte in the sequence is going to be, in this particular packet, is going to be equal to 879. And then the next fragment will have the first byte equal to 880. The next fragment in the sequence will have the first byte equal to 880. Hope that makes sense. So that is how you can compute the first byte and the number of the first byte and the number of the last byte which is there in the packet fragment. Right. So just to understand that if you have an offset value 0, you want to know the number of bytes, right? So this is how you can have the first byte is 000, the last byte is 3999. So that is, you have a total 4000 bytes, and these 4000 bytes you would like to divide it into 3 segments, each of size 1400. Right? So the first byte is 000, the last byte number is 31399. So how do you get the offset value? The offset, remember the offset value is byte number divided by 8 because offset multiplied by 8 is the byte number. So byte number divided by 8 is the offset number. So I hope you understand this relation. Okay, that byte number is equal to offset multiplied by 8. Right? Offset multiplied by 8. So if I want to get a byte number, and if I am given the value of offset, I want to get byte number. So I'll say offset multiplied by 8. This gives me the byte number. But if I had byte number and I want to find the offset, then this can be done by byte number divided by 8. So here I had the byte number. The first byte number is 000. Last byte number is 1399. So what is the offset value now? The offset value is the first byte number divided by 8. So first byte number 000 divided by 8. Therefore, the offset value for this particular fragment is going to be equal to 0. The offset value for the next segment, right? So the offset value is 0, right? The offset value here is 0. And size is, what is the size? Size of the fragment is going to be equal to 1400. Right? Offset value is 0. Size of the segment is 1400. Therefore, the first byte is 0000. The last byte is 1399. The first byte of the second fragment, the byte number of the first byte in the second fragment now is going to be equal to 1400. So how do I get the offset? Offset is obtained by byte number divided by 8. So that is going to be equal to 175. So the offset value for the second fragment is going to be equal to 175. And again, the size of the frame data frame is size of the data in the frame is going to be equal to 1400. The size of each and every offset remains the same, right? So therefore, this is going to be equal to 1400. Right? Similarly, the byte number of the next fragment is 2800. The first byte number of the next fragment is 2800. Therefore, the offset value can be obtained by 2800 divided by 8, that is equal to 350. So for this fragment, the offset is 0, size is equal to 1400. For this fragment, the offset is equal to 175, size is equal to 1400, and for this, the offset is going to be equal to 350. Right? So that is how you can determine the offset value. Right? So this is how the packet header will look like. Right? Say for example, 4020 is the total length. Why this 4020? Because 4000 is data and you also have a 20 byte header. So 4000 bytes are for data and 20 bytes are for header. So the total length is 4020. And we have a unique identifier of this packet, and this unique identifier is, let's say, 14567. So this is our unique packet identifier. Now when we fragment this packet, so initially more fragment is equal to 0, offset equal to 0, more fragment is equal to 0. Why? Because this is the single packet only. This packet is not fragmented. So therefore more fragment is 0. This is the first fragment. This is also the last fragment. Right? So now what we want to do, we want to fragment this original packet into 3 fragments, each of size 1400. Okay, maybe the first is 1400, second is 1400, and the last is 1200, all remaining bytes. Okay. So in order to do that, right, what we need to do, the first fragment, obviously the more fragment bit is equal to 1 because this is the first fragment. This is the second fragment, so more fragment bit equal to 1. And this is a last fragment, so therefore the more fragment bit is going to be equal to 0. What is going to be the offset value here? Remember, the identifier value remains the same because this identifier tells you that this packet, these 3 packets, they are actually fragments of a single packet itself. These 3 fragments are basically these 3 packets are basically the fragment of the original packet. What is the original packet? The original packet is identified as 14567. So this value 14567, 14567, 14567 remains the same. More fragment bit is 1 here, it is 0 here. The total length is 1400 bytes data plus 20 byte header. So you have 1420. Again 1400 bytes data, 20 byte header. So it is 1420. And here we have a remaining 1200 bytes and 20 bytes header. So it is 1220. So that is how the total length field is defined. Now the only thing that we need to determine is the offset. How do we determine offset? Because this fragment consists of the first byte 000 to the last byte 1399. So offset is obtained by first byte number divided by 8. So 000 divided by 8. So this is going to be the first byte number 0000. Offset number is 000. Next is the first byte number is 1400 divided by 8. So therefore the offset is going to be equal to 175 here. And in the third fragment, we have 2800 divided by 8. So therefore the fragment offset value is going to be equal to 350. Original packet divided into 3 offsets, right? 3 fragments. For fragment 1, offset is 0. For the first fragment, offset is 0. For the second fragment, offset is 175. And for the last fragment, offset is 350. More fragment bit is 1 for the first fragment, 1 for the middle fragment, and 0 for the last fragment. And size of the packet is mentioned in the total length field. Okay. So I hope this fragmentation is clear. Now, the fragmented packet in turn can be fragmented further. So this is the first level of fragmentation. Now this packet, this middle packet is in turn fragmented further. Right. तो इसको वापस हमने डिवाइड किया कहां पे, the one fragment consists of 800 bytes, the second fragment consists of 600 bytes. So 820 byte header, so 820, 620 byte header, so 620. Again, they were part of the original packet 14567. So therefore the identification number remains the same, 14567. These are the fragments of the original one. Right? This is obviously not the first fragment, so therefore more fragment bit is 1. It is 1 here. Right? And then the offset value is 175 here. And this consists of 1400 first byte number. The last byte is 2199 because we have to add 800 here. Right? So 2199, that is the last byte number. And the first byte number of the second fragment is 2200. 2200 divided by 8. That will give you the offset value of the second fragment. So ultimately now your original packet is divided into 4 fragments. This is first one, this is second one, this is third one, and this is last one. Initially it was divided into 3 fragments, but then one of the fragment is in turn divided into 2 fragments. So now the original packet is divided into 1, 2, 3 and 4 fragments. Remember, once the packet is fragmented, it will not be reassembled by any of the intermediate device. Once the packet is fragmented, it will not be reassembled by any of the intermediate device. It will only be reassembled by the destination device. Destination को कैसे पता चलेगा कि ये सब एक ही fragment, एक ही packet का fragment है? By looking at the identifier field. So destination when receives this 4 fragment, check the identifier field, and it came to know that okay, these 4 are the fragments of the same packet, and then it will arrange them. अब कैसे arrange करना है, कैसे पता चलेगा? So they will arrange them based on the offset. So 000 is the first, then 175 is the second, then 275 is the third one, 350 is the last one. So that is how they will combine it and generate the original packet back. Okay, so that is all about the fragmentation. I hope this is clear. This is a very important concept in IP protocol, IP fragmentation, packet fragmentation. So I hope this is clear. If you have doubts related to it, you can raise your doubt. There is one more assignment, one more announcement today from DCV sir that our CCN lab will be conducted today in place of MAPI lab because DCV sir is not available tomorrow. So therefore the CCN lab will be conducted today in place of MAPI lab, and the SKV sir will conduct the MAPI lab on Thursday. Okay. So our Thursday lab will be conducted today, and the MAPI lab will in turn be conducted on Thursday by SKV sir, right? So please be there to join the lab, CCN lab today. Okay, so if you have any doubt related to the discussion today on the fragmentation, you can raise your doubts or else you can leave the meeting. In the next class, we'll talk about options, and then we'll quickly talk about option because option is not that difficult, and then we'll quickly move on to the routing algorithms.